And more steps have been taken indeed by India, announcing withdrawal of its High Commissioner as well as other diplomats stationed in Ottawa. To talk about it, we're now joined by Yashwardhan Sinha, former senior diplomat. Good evening to you, Mr. Sinha. Quite a sour note has been struck unprecedentedly, it seems, between India and Canada. Strange. One sees this happen in the context of other countries, but never in the case of two democracies, which many would have thought would have friendly relations.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm astonished at the level that the Canadian government could go to spoil relations with a fellow democracy, a fellow member of the Commonwealth, and a responsible member of the Committee of Nations. I think it obviously has to do with the domestic agenda of their Prime Minister, who's under siege right now with elections due next year.
Now, should we be first of all concerned about our envoy, our other diplomats? The Indian government has said that they'll be withdrawn or they are being withdrawn, but they still remain persons of interest in Canada.
Absolutely. I mean, it's astounding that a High Commissioner and a very senior diplomat, whom I know personally as absolutely outstanding officer, should be a person of interest for the Canadian government and the Canadian investigation or legal authorities, whatever. I'm absolutely surprised.
Isn't it tantamount to saying that the Indian government itself and India itself is a person or entity of interest if you say that India's High Commissioner is a person of interest?
Well, that they were alluding to earlier even, talking about how they believe that an agent of the government of India, and I heard they charged their affair in outside South Block an hour ago, I think, saying that they had provided incontrovertible evidence, and I know that they have provided no evidence really, and I think this is absolutely astonishing. It's against civilized behavior, and I think if the domestic agenda is allowed to determine ties with a friendly country, and deep-standing ties, mind you. India and Canada have had very good relations in the past. And if one gentleman and his supporters think that by targeting India, I think the days of the imperial and the white man's burden is over. I think they must understand that India is a strong nation, a responsible nation, and commands a great deal of respect in the Committee of Nations.
Could you throw some more light on how it has become, as you say, the political agenda of the Trudeau government to target India in this manner? What is the reason and how far does it go back? Because I believe it goes back even further than Justin Trudeau to even his father.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think his father, Pierre Trudeau, also played games as far as our bilateral relations are concerned. I recall when our first peaceful nuclear explosion, the PNE, happened in 1974. But be that as it may, I think I again want to repeat that, extremists, the Khalistanis, who have a particular agenda, if the government of the day in Canada is beholden to them to survive, then I can only say that, it's a very sad commentary on the political affairs of that country. I mean, it is amazing that the Sikhs in India are peace-loving, they're as patriotic as any other Indian, and they played a huge role for India's defense in history. I go back to the martyrdom of Guru Arjan Dev Ji and Guru Gobind Singh Ji, what he did. I mean, I'm surprised, and I myself, when I was in London as High Commissioner, I would emphasize how the Sikhs have been in the forefront of the defense of India, for the independence of India, and some misguided elements living abroad think that they can change that. And what is even worse is governments in these countries succumbing to their false narrative.
And isn't it unfortunate that it would seem to a lot of people that Canada is a place where a lot of our Sikhs, in fact the second highest number of Sikhs that are anywhere in the world are in Canada, they will get painted in the same brush as well, although I'm sure these fringe elements, these separatists and the terrorists they must be a very small fraction of almost 800,000 Sikhs who are there in Canada.
I'd like to believe that. And, the problem is that they are a very vociferous lot, and they're a dangerous lot because they believe in violence to achieve their aims. They have been threatening Indian diplomats and Indian missions and consulates for quite some time now. And I think the vast majority of Indian origin people, including the Sikhs, are peace-loving and law-abiding. But the sad part is that the government of the day is now encouraging this sort of action. And that is why I think we were forced to withdraw our High Commissioner and other targeted diplomats, because for us, the safety and security of our diplomats is of paramount importance.
And what can we expect next? Because clearly this is escalating, and you have a situation in Canada as well where otherwise Justin Trudeau is under attack from the opposition. He's becoming increasingly unpopular. But what about this issue itself? Would he face tough questions from opposition and others on these kind of moves as well against India?
Well, I certainly hope so. But that is something for the Canadian people to decide. I know that he barely survived a vote of confidence recently, and his popularity ratings are low. But I don't want to comment on that because that is internal politics of Canada. But I think people must realize what he is doing in terms of damaging the very strong relations that existed between our two countries, and more importantly, between our two peoples. We have such a large diaspora in Canada, and we've had such good relations in the past. And all that is being jeopardized for domestic political compulsions.
Certainly, that is quite a disturbing kind of a development that is taking place between India and Canada relations. Thank you for joining us and talking about it, Ambassador Sinha, for the moment.
Thank you. Thank you very much.